Hi there. Welcome to day 5 and 6 of building a micro-SaaS platform for freelancers and small businesses. Okay, so in a previous video, we did the CRM. That's the client, the lead, where we can even import from CSV file and do some small pipelines, right? Okay, and you can also create some small tags. Okay, so in this the past 48 hours, I did work on the invoice and the dashboard. Okay, and in the invoice, the user will have to input their data. They send it through the web, right? We validate the data, and there are few options, right? One option is to just save it as a draft, right? So we validate it, then we send it to the server, right? So we're using Zord to do the validation on the client side as well as on the server side. Okay, so we don't just do one validation; we do it both front end and the back end, right? Okay, and we just store it. The user can also say, I want to finalize the invoice, and finalized invoice cannot be edited nor deleted, right? So we finalize it, right? We send it to the server, then we generate the PDF, right? Then we acknowledge. The user can also say that, okay, I want to finalize and send it. So then that one we do the validation, we generate the PDF, and we can send it to the customer. But that one is for only paid plan, right? Okay, yeah. So that's that. So the challenge I had with this thing was how to do the PDF generation on the server side. You understand? How to do the PDF generation on the server side. Because I didn't want people to tamper with the PDF generation on the client side and just download it, remove the watermark and stuff. Since we have paid features, right? So we need to think about security. And the best one will be on the server side. So yeah, the challenge I was facing was how to generate the PDF on the server side. So at first I was using a React PDF, and it was giving me a little bit of problem. I switched to Puppeteer, but that one also was I was able to do it with that one, but it was resource intensive, right? And I did research, and people were saying, yeah, it's possible to do it with React PDF on the server side. So I had to look into it again and figure out how I was going to do it. And at first, the issue was that I thought I could just fetch the data inside the PDF. Because if you check React PDF, you can see that they have the various components. So I thought I could do that in there and just render it on the server side, but that wasn't possible. Meaning I had to separate the concerns, right? I had to separate the concern that the data fetching should be on one side, and the React PDF also components needs to be on one side, and we just pass the data to it. So I had to create an API route where I will call after the data has been finalized, right? Validated and finalized, and I'll call that endpoint, and that endpoint will check if the data has been finalized and generate the PDF and send the response back, right? So once we generate the PDF, we store the PDF into the Supabase storage, right? We store the PDF into the Supabase storage so that next time user don't have to generate the invoice again and again, or the PDF again and again, right? So that next time they can just download it and either send it to their client manually, or they can attach it, or yes, when they're on the pay plan, they can just click on send and it will just go like that. Okay, so yeah, that was it. And because I chose on the server side over the browser side because of several factors like browser compatibility issues, right? And unsupported browsers, as well as limited resources, and some large file errors, as well as the other one is because we have paid option. I don't want people to just manipulate it and get away with the paid options for free. So I chose that. Now, another thing that somebody will want to ask is that since you're saving the PDF into the Supabase storage, is that not going to bloat the storage or take a lot of storage? Okay, yeah, that is actually a true thing, right? And I think the PDF, right, should be less than 1 MB. However, if we have our logos and signature attached to it, I think it's between it's less than 3 MB, right? Okay, so less than 3 MB, we store it there, right? But it is not stored there permanently. Okay, so I set up edge functions, and I triggered it with cron job, and the cron job will call the function every day, right? And those on the free plan, their PDF will be there for 30 days and it will be deleted, right? And those on the paid plan, it is 90 days. And in the 90 days, it is when they do not access their PDF again. They do not access the invoice again for 90 days, then we'll delete it, right? Okay, and it will be like request when needed. So they will only get a PDF again when they need it. Yes, then on that case, we can generate another one, right? So if they don't need it, then there's no need to store it there. And one thing I did also that once the invoice is finalized and right, the PDF is generated, you cannot edit the invoice again nor delete it. You cannot edit it or delete it again because it has been finalized. So to keep your accounting balanced, because we don't have to send an invoice. Let's say we send an invoice of $100 and we update it, right? And now in our system it is, let's say, 150. That will bring a lot of inconsistency. So we lock the invoice. So you can only edit the draft invoices, but once it is locked, by finalizing it, you can do it, right? Okay, you can do it again. So yeah, so the challenge was how to generate the PDF on the server side, but I managed to come through smoothly. Okay. Yeah, and also the issue that I mentioned in the previous episode or video that the exchange, right? So I managed to have an API route, right? I'm actually using an exchange rate API. Yeah, it's called exchange rate API, right? Okay, so I set up an edge function, right, and a cron job also in Superbase that calls it every day at I think it's 4 UTC time, right? Okay. Yeah, per my research, I realized that's where the banking stuff, that's where they do, get it. I'm not a finance person, but I think that's fine. So that's where we update it. And every day we fetch the updated data, right? Okay, so we fetch it. We use one major currency, that is the USD, against all the currencies. We don't have to fetch for each currency pair, else we'll have a very big data set to deal with, right? So we only fetch it the USD comparing with all the other currencies. So once you want to do it, we just have to fetch the currencies, right? The currency you want to issue the invoice in and your base currency. Then we convert that currency you want to issue the invoice in. So the invoice currency, we convert it using the conversion rate in our database. We convert it to the USD, then from the USD to your base currency, then we store the base currency amount, right? Okay, so due to that, we are able to calculate something called FX loss or gain. That is the forex either loss or gain, right? Because assuming you send an invoice of $1,000, right, and they pay it in your local currency, but let's say they paid it a week later or a month later, and the forex rate might have changed, but they paid the same $1,000. But maybe because the forex rate has changed, you actually receive an equivalent of, let's say, 1,200 in your bank account, meaning you've gained an extra 200, right? So when you record the amount paid into your bank account, we're able to tell whether you gain or you made or loss. There's a gain or there's a loss, right? There's a profit or loss, right? Okay, so and the opposite is also true, that maybe they'll pay later and the forex rate has also changed, and instead of you receiving 1,000, you receive 800, but meanwhile they paid 1,000, but converting it to your base currency at your bank, the equivalent will be, let's say, up to 800, meaning you lose 200, right? Okay, so we're able to tell that and do that by reasons of you doing the exchange rate at the time you actually created the invoice. Okay, now the other challenge that we faced is how to do the payment integration, right? I was thinking of that clients should be able to pay us right on the system, right? And we do not have to use different payment providers to collect our money. But the issue is that where I am, Stripe is not available. Stripe is not available. So Stripe has something called Stripe Connect. So in Stripe Connect, we at Wyllflow can have a Stripe account, and all our users will also create a Stripe Connect account, so that this one becomes like inside this, right? So that they can, when they create an invoice, client can just click on a link and make payment. And when the payment come to us, there are two ways. It's either we deposit the money into our user's account straight, right? The one who created the invoice, or we store it and later send it to them, or they request for it. Right, so there are two options. But since Stripe Connect, not Stripe Connect, since Stripe is not available in my region, it's still a challenge I haven't been able to solve. So what I came up with now is just that I provided payment options, right? Payment option that you can attach any payment. So let's say you have a Stripe link that you want to attach, you can attach it. If you have, let's say, paper email that you want to attach, but you do not have to put in sensitive data, right? Yes, in Africa, there are some providers like mobile money. Maybe they can attach the mobile money link or number, right? Or maybe you are in Asia or India where they have UPI. You can put the UPI ID there, and they will just make the payment into it, right? So that is still the challenge. If you guys have any other payment system that I can use to make this so that you can collect payment on the app straight up, that would be very fine. Due to that, we are not able to tell whether you have received the payment or not. But because if we're using Stripe, when they make payment, we can have a webhook that will tell us that, this invoice has been paid, and, we do the appropriate updates or recordings, right? Since we do not have that, you have to manually input that this is the amount I receive into my account, and you'll be able to track your analysis. You don't have to take calculator and be calculating stuff. You just need to put the amount you receive, and the calculations will be done for you. You see your dashboard and the metrics neat or nice, right? Yeah. I was trying to use things like either Paddle or Polar or Lemon Squeezy. Those are merchant of records, and they do not have such. I don't know if they do have, but I didn't see anything of such, right? They only help you to sell products or do subscription and stuff. I didn't see anything like similar like a Stripe and the Stripe Connect thing where they can just do those things. I didn't see anything of such, right? And so what I was thinking of would be like maybe we use, let's say, Paddle, and our users will have to go to Paddle, create their account, and maybe they will bring their API key or something like that, which I mean we'll have to be extra careful with security and stuff, right, of their API keys. Or maybe they can just bring their product, something like that. But I haven't been able to figure it out yet. Yeah, so if you have a different way that we can do that, I would really appreciate that. But for now, we have a way that you just need to put in payment links and stuff, and it will be attached to the invoice. So if I show you a sample invoice, this is a sample of invoice, the text on it are selectable, right? You can select it. And if we have logo, the logo will come here. Oh, sorry. And the email, even the email on it, you can just click on it to send email, right? You can even search for the text. The text on it are searchable, right? You see, you can search, you can copy everything. And we have logo. The logo will come here, and the free plan will come with a watermark like this, right? And here we have the payment term, and we'll also attach the payment information here. So whatever payment information you provide will come here. And we also add signature, right? So that you see that there's a signature. Okay, so yeah, so this one template of the invoice. So yeah, over the period, this is what I've been able to do, and this is actually the final thing. Maybe right after here, the people on the wait list, right? So if you haven't joined the wait list, we still have some few days. You can still join and get a discount, right? You get a discount on the day of lunch. But right from here, maybe a day or 2 days or at most 3 days, the people on the wait list, starting from, in that order, some, if not all, some will be allowed to test, right, in a private testing. So they will receive a mail. So you have to check your emails, or yeah, sometime, or maybe the promotions you see from Wyllflow, you receive the instructions on how to go about. You sign up, and you test it, then you report your feedback, right? Maybe in 2 or 3 days. And after that, if you come to this wyllflow.com, you should see that the app will be live, right? Will be live here, and you'll be able to access it. Your feedback are still welcome, right? Yeah. In the meantime, you can just sign up for this wait list and wait for 2 to 3 days time. Maybe when I do the launch, I will do a short video to let you know that we are live now, and do even a demo of it, right? So that you know how to go about it. Okay, so far this is what I've done. So I'm just going to do some SEO optimization, and the app should be live for testing, beta testing, especially for the people on the waitlist. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also sign up for waitlist. You can support this project, right, by bringing your reviews or your comment. Yeah, if you also wish to support CodeWave, links are in the description there. Thank you for your time. Bye.